huge
The
that they would have the
Empire's on
courage
the run.
to come out with this.
Alex Jones and
I
the
mean, we already know it,
GCN
but now
Radio
they're saying it.
Network.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled I-N-F-I-D-E-L, bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
The article is on Infowars.com. We're linked to the full article at WorldNetDaily.com, WND.com. Generals conclude Obama-backed al-Qaeda. Dr. Jerome Corsi of WorldNet Daily, best-selling author and researcher, came on short notice. He's only with us for about 15 minutes. We're going to him in just a moment to break this down. Our military knows what's going on. This is a big deal. This could bring down the system. The military concludes in this article with sources that there's basically a coup in the government, and they're actually planning to turn much of the world over to radical Islamicists with Saudi Arabia. And we know this is happening through Kenya. It's just unbelievable. We're going to talk about this in just a moment. Then in the final segment, Anthony Gucciardi will be back. But before we go to Dr. Corsi, finish up mentioning those studies on what ancient defense compounds, the compounds that are based on organic systems in ancient defense, do for people. Versus the flu shot, they admit, doesn't protect you from the flu, ends up lowering your immune system, giving you the flu, when sunshine and vitamin C on record's better than that. I mean, it's kind of like St. John's warts and all these studies is better than Prozac, but they won't tell people that it's what your body already needs. And it's available at Infowars Life It's what I'm taking, what my children are taking, and it's discounted. This new right side ancient defense from InfoWarsLife.com herbal immunity complex. I'm really proud of this. We could easily sell it for $40. That's what the competitors are and more. $14.95, not compromising, highest quality, InfoWarsLife.com.
About the flu shot, you talk about Prozac. They knew for decades it caused suicide. Professors from Harvard spoke out. We're going to talk about natural alternatives. I'm going to highlight the exact key components that you need, some of which are also in herbal ancient defense, herbal resistance immunity complex that we've developed. But specifically, just a few studies we're going to talk about real quick that we're going to go into. Elderberry appears to be safe and effective treatment for influenza A and B. Elderberry significantly reduces the duration of infection from influenza in a safe manner. Again, this is all public, National Library of Medicine, Congress, PubMed studies. Elderberry stimulates production of the healthy immune system to fight off viral infection. No vaccine needed. Elderberry flavonoids bind to and prevent H1N1 infection. Ginger, we'll get into as well. Ginger supplementation is an effective treatment for type 2 diabetes. It also aids in pregnancy, HIV.
All of this is in here, concentrated, highest quality. We can keep the price low because a few things that are fancy aren't in there, but it's got like 20 ingredients, concentrated. It's over the top, InfoWarsLife.com. We'll talk about all this and show those studies and detail them in the final segment. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Stay there because you may have some comments as one of our journalists for Dr. Corsi. Dr. Corsi of WorldNetDaily.com, WND.com, joins us, no stranger to this broadcast. One of the most important articles he's ever done, in my view, is on the site. Generals conclude Obama backed al-Qaeda. He's been to Kenya. He's been to Egypt. Everything he's been saying here for years keeps coming out in mainstream news. Washington Times says how Obama arms al-Qaeda. So this is really starting to come out. But what the high-level brass and former brass are saying, and ambassadors and others are saying, is that this appears to be a complete realignment. So to break this down is Dr. Corsi. You've got the floor, sir, for the next 14 minutes before we go to break. Please give us a special report on what's happening. Please give us a briefing.
Well, Alex, I've been interviewing a lot of the members of this Citizens Commission on Benghazi, which include really top admirals and generals who are very aware, and some of them involved in the situation in Benghazi when the attack was occurring on 9/11 in 2012. What is the case is they've proved that a decision was made by the Obama administration really about 2011, in March 2011, that we were going to switch sides in the war on terror, and that we're going to have supported the al-Qaeda affiliated militia in Libya that we know to be under the political control of the Muslim Brotherhood, and that we, in fact, and I detail in the article the evidence that supports this, established Christopher Stevens as our first envoy to al-Qaeda. And his mission, what he was doing in al-Qaeda, was running a fast and furious gun operation, bringing weapons in from Eastern Europe through Qatar and getting them into the al-Qaeda affiliated militia in Libya in order to overthrow Gaddafi. I mean, that's remarkable. We were funding, providing weapons to, established Benghazi as our special diplomatic compound operating posts right next to the CIA annex, from which Ambassador Chris Stevens, before he was ambassador, he came in a cargo ship, this is 2011, was running guns, unbeknownst to the American people, into our new allies, which are the al-Qaeda militia in Libya. That was the Obama administration decision, and the policy follows from there. It's fundamental that listeners understand that Obama changed sides in the war on terror and decided that we would ally with al-Qaeda to bring down Gaddafi in Libya. I mean, it's shocking. To be absolutely honest with you, it's shocking.
Now, you could talk for 10 hours on this, but condensing it down, you had this intel years ago. I confirmed it with Colonel Schaefer and others on the inside that have been in Congress in these briefings that are classified, that your analysis is dead on. They know that 95% of the fighters in Syria are al-Qaeda, so they had them change the name to ISIS to confuse the public. From your intel, is this really another bait and switch now where they claim that the U.S. and NATO and Turkey are allied with Iran against Saudi Arabia and al-Qaeda, or is it another double cross where they're really still arming al-Qaeda, as the Iraqi government is saying they've caught them doing? Because every indicator I see is they're attempting to look like they're doing both, but that they're not really engaged in real strikes against al-Qaeda, and that this is a triple cross.
Well, in the series of stories that I'm writing, I've interviewed former CIA operatives who make it clear that we're playing both sides. We're playing both encouraging Iran to enter as our supposed allies to defeat ISIS, while at the same time, what Christopher Stevens was doing at the time of his death was diverting weapons from Libya through Turkey to al-Qaeda groups fighting Assad. Many of those al-Qaeda groups became ISIS. I mean, it's fundamental to understand that we, in a sense, created ISIS and provided the weaponry and the funding through Libya in order to keep ISIS going, to have them grow. And now we're encouraging Iran to come into the conflict to defeat ISIS. I mean, it's the CIA playing both sides against the middle. But in this, Obama has gone completely onto the other side. He's now supporting al-Qaeda. He's supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. He's supporting the Shiites in Iran, even though they're developing nuclear weapons that they could potentially use against Israel.
Okay, so to be clear, what you're getting at is
fighting with our enemies.
I understand. So it's not he's either on the side of the Wahhabists or he's on the side of the Shiites. Are you saying that beneath the surface, this is really allying with the Muslims, period, whether they be Shiite or Sunni, and that this is a master plan to turn Africa, the Middle East, and much of Central Asia over to them?
Into a radical Islamic hotbed. That's correct. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying.
So they don't care now. It's fun to everybody who's radical.
We're no longer fighting radical Islamic terrorism. We're funding it and arming it.
And is that why starting in 2011, Big Sis came out and said, we're no longer worried about Islamic terror. We're only focused on Tea Party and gun owners?
Right, because the White House has abandoned the idea that there is Islamic terror, except maybe for some hotheads that do a deed that becomes a little bit too obnoxious. So Obama wants to be able to distance himself from the particular ones he doesn't like. But we're still supporting radical Islamic terrorism, and the administration will not say our enemy is radical Islamic extremism.
Well, I had Ahmad Salam on, who's a big FBI informant, former colonel in the Egyptian military, very respected. Even the New York Times says his credentials are impeccable. Yeah. He said your analysis is dead on, and that from his sources in intelligence, they're totally freaked out in Egypt that our government is trying to overthrow Egypt and destabilize the whole Middle East. And he said exactly what you just said. Right. You quote high-level officers in your article concurring. This is really scary. Then you add that with the war on brass that aren't traitors. What's the master end game out of this, A, and B, how is it going for them then in this turn the world over to radical Muslims operation?
Well, I'm only partway through the series of articles, but what I'm going to develop and have been developing is that Obama has completely switched. We are now embracing radical Islamic terrorism. We're destabilizing all of North Africa. We're destabilizing Iraq. We're allowing Iran to come into influence in Iraq. This is extending over to Hezbollah. I mean, soon I think you're going to find a regional war involving Hezbollah, even potentially Hezbollah joining with Iran against Israel. This could all.
You now see France and others lining up against Israel, and even if people don't,
yes, they will not, France will not support Israel. France will be on the side of the radical Islamic terrorists too. I mean, they're appeasing right now. France is the radical Islamicists, and Obama is at the center of this duplicity because he's not come out and told the American people that Al-Qaeda is no longer our enemy. We're sided with al-Qaeda. We've funded al-Qaeda. We've armed al-Qaeda. This is what Chris Stevens was doing. This was the whole plan. We supported the Muslim Brotherhood. El-Sisi in Egypt right now, as soon as he came into power, Obama quit funding him. Obama, El-Sisi has called out Obama and said Obama has supported the Muslim Brotherhood, which is going back to World War II, and the
Nazis.
Muslim Brotherhood not signed with Hitler. They've been a radical Islamic destabilizing force determined to destroy Israel.